so damn good.
um, I really
The
love
thumbnail.
the NNs for the members. Like
Yeah.
they look awesome. And then the cat that David made us
It's so good.
is really good.
Oh, I didn't show you. I did up a tank. I was messing around with the thing, and I did a tank.
I was scrolling through my photos and I saw a picture of the cats and I was like, oh, I got to get this to Lloyd. I got to get this to Lloyd because for the how do I want to describe it? The possible shirt.
Mm-hmm.
Possible. We'll see.
Here,
None of that happens until we hit 10,000 though. So
exactly, we still got a little ways to go.
what are you taking a picture of?
It's the easiest way for me to show you the tank version.
Oh yeah, I saw you working on that one. I think you sent it to me before.
Oh, did I?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, there's a tank version of the Stadia cats.
Yeah. Podcast postcard. I think he means podcast. Podcast started with a Destroy All Humans on Stadia commercial.
Oh, that's good to hear that they're advertising games on YouTube.
Yeah.
Sammy on Stadia and cats on a shirt. I'm buying 10.
Well, you're not buying any until we can hit 10,000 subscribers, because until you hit that mark, you can't do merch, and we want to do merch right on YouTube because it just makes things easier.
It does. Welcome, everybody. Hopefully everybody's having a great morning so far, or afternoon or evening, depending on which part of the world you're living in.
I like to say happy time zone because then it covers everything.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
So I hope everyone's having a good day. I love those little emotes. Good morning, Bill and Lloyd and chat. Like our little faces. David Rodriguez Jr. did a great job on that.
Yeah,
stuff.
he is fantastic. That was so good.
Yeah.
Can't thank him enough.
Well, speaking of thanking people, I want to real quick say thank you to Bad Mojo, Vernificus Games, and Goblin Lord X for becoming members. I think I recognize all of those names, or I definitely recognize all of those names. So I think they're all like remembers. I don't know how to say that. Like, it makes sense when you say, like on Twitch, you say resubs, but what do you call it when it's?
I don't know.
Remembers. Remember to remember. I guess. I don't know. Anyway, thank you to them.
Maybe.
Thank you to them. Do you want me to hit record?
Yeah. Let's.
You seem like you're not sure.
No, it's good. I was just reading the comments and stuff. My beard, man, it is so big and bushy.
I think it's great, man. I think that I'm
growing it till the end of December at least. I want to see what it looks like at the end of December, and then I'll make the determination then whether it's laid down enough because of the weight, or if I need to chop it down completely, because it's
that's only. It's less. Like that's like 2 weeks away. That's not enough time for it to start to lay down. You got to go at least to February.
Okay.
Well, that was easy to convince. Listen, I will continue to grow my hair as long as you grow your beard.
Okay. Okay.
I'm not committing to that because at some point I'm going to be like, screw it. And
I know I said that out loud, but you can't believe anything that is coming out of my mouth.
I was lying. Look at me. You can tell when I'm lying. Just look at my eyes.
Yes. Awesome.
Let's get started. This way people can't tell if I'm lying or telling the truth.
Oh, we're playing poker now.
That's right.
You're David Negrano or whatever his name was with the shiny glasses. There was a poker player that had like the shiny glasses that had like crocodile eyes.
Wait,
on the lenses.
Wouldn't you be able to see his cards in the reflection?
I don't think they were that shiny, but they were kind of like yours. Like they had that kind of like pearlescent kind of thing. But yours are actually, I could see your screen. Yeah. I think his were done in such a way that you weren't able to see.
Well, there you go. I'm gonna leave these on for the show. I can't read anything. All right, I'm gonna hit record.
He wears his sunglasses in Night City.
Nice, very good. All right, here we go.
All right.
Welcome back to Stadia Cast. I'm Bill. That's Lloyd. Lloyd, how's it going, man?
You know, I am completely exhausted for many reasons. We'll get into that in the show. I am so happy to be here talking Google Stadia first thing on a Sunday morning. Lots of stuff to get into this week.
Speaking of Sunday mornings, if you're listening to this after the fact, or if you're watching this on YouTube after the fact, we do record these live with a bunch of people. Will be here in chatting with us and stuff. So we do record these live every Sunday morning at 10 a.m. Head on over to nerdnest.tv, and then you can watch and hang out with us while we record StadiaCast. If you are here with us live and you want to directly support the show, use the super chat feature to make sure that we see your message. That way we respond to each and every super chat at the end of the show. If you're not here with us live, there's a bunch of YouTube buttons that you can use. You can hit the join button, which will help us out. There's the applaud button, which inexplicably YouTube won't tell us who clicks it, but people do. So thank you. And there's also the share button. You can click on that share button and let people know that you liked this this show, and maybe they would like it too. Every single episode, we start off with what have we been playing. I feel like this is going to be a vast majority of the show today, because since last Sunday, there's been a lot of games released on Stadia, especially a really, really big one. Do we want to start with the what have we been playing, or did you want to start with like why you're so tired?
Let's do why I'm so tired, and then we'll get into what we've been playing.
I think that's going to be a new segment on the show each week. Why is Lloyd exhausted?
Why has Lloyd not slept this week? This week on playing Stadia too late is what it is. Yeah. Well, first off, I want to thank everybody that voted for us in the Cloud Gaming Awards. It was a fantastic event that Cloudy with a Chance of Games put on. It was fun to watch. It was fun to hang out with the community while we were watching it. StadiaCast won Stadia Podcast / Talk Show of the Year, which is just phenomenal. And we also won a Stadia Content Creator of the Year for the Nerd Nest channel. So a huge thanks to everybody that voted for us or anybody else. Great event, and it was great to see the community come together like this.
Absolutely. It was really fun. I also just want to say again, I want to applaud how well put together it was. Yeah. I really liked the nomination videos and the winner videos. The way that those were put together was really well edited and well done. Especially, as somebody who edits video all the time, I was watching, I was like, that's really good. They did a good job. Good job on them. And thank you to everybody who voted for us.
Yeah, it was fantastic. Just a fantastic event. So thanks to everybody that was involved and voted, and everybody that was nominated. It was good to see so many people celebrating Stadia and cloud gaming. And then the reason why I'm really tired is over the last 2 evenings, so Friday night and Saturday night, I was mission control for a huge charity stream. So a bunch of Disney YouTubers, they call themselves Theme Park Tube, but it's Defunctland and a bunch of other ones, Rob Plays and Disney Dan. For 3 years, they've been doing this charity event called Charity Land, where they raise money for Give Kids the World Village, which is an organization in Florida that invites very, very, very sick children and their family to their resort for a week or a number of days, whatever the stay is, where they can go to the parks, they can eat ice cream for breakfast, they can do whatever to make the life of very, very sick little kids better. We've been raising money for the last 3 years. This year we did something different because of COVID. Normally they're doing live hits in the different parks, and we have a bunch of people coming in. Can't do that during COVID. So what we did is we watched old Disney Christmas Day parades from like the 80s and 90s and stuff like that together on stream with Mystery Science Theater 3000 stuff behind it. We had a virtual set for the guys. It was fantastic, and we raised over $51,000 for sick kids. That's going to be like 10 families going to this place, which is just fantastic. Everybody that came out and supported us, because I was tweeting about it, thank you. You can check it out over at charityland.gives. Just because the event's over doesn't mean that supporting sick children is over. So check it out if you could. But I basically had my rear end parked in this chair for about 24 hours over the last 2 days. So it was just so exhausting, but man, the amount of joy and just it's hard to put it into words, the feelings that you get when you do something like this, but this event's gonna do a lot of good for the world. So thanks to everybody that was supporting us, either through Twitter or whatever, or just because I was talking about it on different on different podcasts and stuff.
And they are still accepting donations at this point, right?
Correct. Yeah. The event is over, but the donation page is still open, and every dollar goes to making kids that are not in the best place, takes them to the best place for them, which is Disney World.
That's really awesome. So I put that link into chat, and I will try sometime during the show while Lloyd's talking about something. I'll try and put it in the description of the video as well, so that you guys can check that out. But if I forget, it's just charityland.gives is the URL that you can click, and it'll take you straight to the page, and then there's a little link that will take you to the donation page as well. So that's really awesome, Lloyd.
Oh, well, thanks. It was such a good event, and we did a world of good, which is kind of what we were hoping to do. And I have such a small part doing it. I just run mission control. I make sure the stream gets out there for everybody, but everybody that was involved behind the scenes and on camera, it was a great event.
That's awesome. All right, let's talk about what we've been playing.
All right.
Which like I was looking at our first looks. You did a lot of first looks this week, man.
Yep.
So you did a first look for you did two streams for Cyberpunk. You did a first
Correct.
look for Fogs. You did a first look for Destroy All Humans, a first look for Spongebob. I was supposed to do a first look for Valkyria Chronicles, but my audio was messed up, so I have to redo it. So we have a lot of games to talk about. Obviously, we need to start with the big one. Fogs.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, we will get to Fogs, but let's start with the big one, Cyberpunk. This is the game people have been waiting for was it like 8 years or something? 8 years ago it got announced. Let's first talk about your experience, and of course I'm dropping some frames, it looks like. So thanks OBS and Spectrum for screwing everything up for us. But go ahead. What was your first experience with Cyberpunk so far, and then I'll talk about mine as well.
Well, let's talk about launch day a little bit. So at 6 p.m. my time on Thursday of last week, Cyberpunk went live. But we really didn't know how it was going to work on Google Stadia with the whole pre-order thing, and when it's going to appear in your library and how you can play it and stuff like that. So as I was waiting and we're getting close to 6 o'clock, I'm looking at my Stadia library. I'm looking at my purchases tab, and I'm like, okay, I don't think I've been charged for this yet. Are they going to charge me? Did they forget about me? Like, what's happening here? 6 o'clock hits. There's no Cyberpunk icon in my play, and I'm like, oh my god, how am I going to play this game? So I was like, okay, I have an idea. So I went to the store. I did a search for Cyberpunk. Well, there's no search, but I looked myself, manual search for Cyberpunk, clicked it, and there was a play button. So I hit play. The game started booting. So I closed it, went to my CCU, and restarted Stadia. And the first icon up there was Cyberpunk. So even though I hadn't been charged because I didn't get the email and all that stuff, I guess I was charged. I hit play on my CCU, and within about 10 minutes of the game launching, I was playing and streaming it. Meanwhile, everybody else playing on any other system was waiting for a huge patch to come down, was waiting for their blade or their rig to be available if you're playing on other services that aren't Stadia. And I was in the game and streaming it almost immediately. It was quite phenomenal, and we can't we can't give enough kudos to Google to pull this off, because literally every other place where Cyberpunk was playable had issues, and Stadia was available day one, minute one, well, minute 10, I guess, in my case. But some people were playing exactly at 6 o'clock. So as it was going through the system, doing all these charges and things like that, I just got to applaud Stadia for pulling this off. And I think that this moment in time, it is kind of the breakout time for Stadia. I think this is going to be the moment that people are going to look back and say, this is when Stadia was no longer the butt of jokes on Reddit. It was the place where people said, well, I don't know why you can't play it. I'm playing it on Stadia and it runs fine. It was quite amazing to see, and I think we're going to be talking about this moment for years.
You know, I think so too. There were a lot of articles. People kept sending me article after article after article, of, you know, everybody saying really nice things about Cyberpunk on Stadia, especially when comparing it to like the OG Xbox One and the PS4. Now, if you're here for Schadenfreude, that's not what I'm about. I'm like, oh, I'm so disappointed for the people that have an original PS4 or an original Xbox One, because they've been looking forward to this game for a really long time.
Yeah,
and it looks like hot garbage. Now,
it looks like Metal Gear Solid 1 running on PlayStation 1. Like the character models are like 7 polygons in some instances with really muddy textures. Those two versions of the game need a lot of work.
I will say that I mean, I don't have access to it on a PS4, and I don't even have an Xbox One. What I wonder is, are people cherry picking like the worst cases of,
for sure,
well, it really looks bad here, I'm going to clip this and post it because, you know, negativity gets clicks. That works all over the place. That worked for the last year with Stadia, is people would post negative things about Stadia because it gets clicks. And now the same exact thing is happening on the other consoles, where, you know, maybe they're, and I don't know, but maybe some people are cherry picking, boy, it looks like real bad here, I'm going to take this, post a negative story, and, you know, because a lot of people will click on that stuff. But I just feel so disappointed for everybody out there who, you know, can't find a PS5 or an Xbox One, and maybe they didn't buy a PS4 Pro or an Xbox One X. I don't know. I think it's very, very disappointing what's happening there. But guess what? I saw a lot of people say, I bought this on my Xbox One. It ran like crap. I returned it thanks to Microsoft's return policy, bought it on Stadia, was playing within minutes, and they're shipping me a Premier Edition, which is pretty awesome. So I think that's really good. And, you know, we've said it before, there's been a lot of times where you buy the console, you get the game. This is the first time where you buy the game, you get the console for free, and it's just really awesome. And I've been having a lot of fun with the game too.
Yeah, same. It's amazing. Like when the game first loaded, the graphics looked pretty rough. It looked like it was struggling to run on Stadia, which I think was maybe just an issue with network management. They've probably never had so many people play on Stadia at once, and maybe it took a while for things to settle down and new network maps to be created and all the fun stuff when you have a smart network, and it can change all the routes and stuff like that to make things run better. After about 45 minutes, my game went from blurry to super clear. On Stadia, you have a choice between 4K 30 or 1080p 60. Of course, the actual resolution isn't quite 1080p or quite 4K running in those. They are lower and then upscaled up, but it looks completely beautiful. The game runs really, really well on Stadia. The game itself is a buggy mess, which, but not in a bad way. It reminds me of like a Bethesda thing where like a guy would be riding a horse, but the horse wouldn't load in, so you just see a guy floating 5 feet in the air, kind of doing this with his arms out.
So I have a couple of bugs that I ran into that were really funny. On like one of my first missions, there was this dude. I shot him. He falls down. My wife is sitting in here with me, and I go, "Oh my god, look at this!" And she looks up, and his leg is like pointing the wrong way and sticking up in the air, straight up in the air, as he's laying face down on the ground. And I was like, "What in the hell is happening there?" And then last night I was playing, or maybe it was the night before. Either way, I was playing and I was shooting this guy, and at the time when I shot him, there was he backed up, and then there's sliding doors in the game, and this sliding door closed, and he went sideways with his upper half of his body on one side of the door and the lower half of his body on the other side of the door, and it was closed. So he's like going through the door, and he still has a little health left. So I was like, well, I'm taking advantage of this. I shot him. He died. I went over and I used the door, and he goes into the wall with the as the door moves over, it pulls him with it into the wall.
Of course.
It's such a buggy mess.
Yeah.
It's I saw this meme where it was The Simpsons, and I remember this episode where Lisa does something bad, and I don't remember what exactly she did bad, but Marge is like, "Bart, no." And Bart's like, "What are you talking about?" And she's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, force of habit." And they replaced it with Todd Howard, because he's the Elder Scrolls games always launch
Exactly.
super buggy, and they're a buggy mess, and then everybody picks on Todd Howard for launching a buggy game. Well, this time it's CD Projekt Red launched a buggy mess. All of this crunch that they did for the last year seems to be for, I don't want to say for nothing, but you know what? They should have delayed it again. And they should not have told us December 10th. They shouldn't have told us a date 2 years ago or whatever, because it's a mess. But it's a fun mess, and that's an important thing.
Yeah, like the bugs aren't crazy. I've heard people say that there's some save game deleting bugs on some platforms. I haven't run into that, thankfully, but I have seen issues where after one of the main missions, like you basically have to go and you have to talk to, this isn't a spoiler, by the way, because the game is all about cybernetics and modifications. So after you do like kind of your starting mission, you have to go back and talk to the doctor that's gonna put some new cyber stuff into you. So I sit there, he does whatever he does, and then I'm supposed to leave there and go back to this other area to talk to my partner, but he's not there. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, maybe I have to go outside. So I go outside and he's not there. And then I see cars, which are I'm supposed to react with those, but I can't because the trigger is talking to the guy. And I'm like, okay, well, where is he? So I go out, I run down the block, I come back, I go in, I trigger something where the police show up. So there's a guy blocking the door now. I can now see, because when I approach the door opens, but the police guy pushes me back. So he like puts his hand in my face and pushes me back. But I can see the guy that I have to talk to now, but he's inside the door. He's not where he's supposed to be, which is outside the door. And I'm like, that is a weird bug. So I save and quit, and I go back in and reload, and sure enough, he's standing right where he should have been, which is outside the door. I talk to him and everything continues. So I've had a couple instances with that where I've had to save and quit and then load, and then all of a sudden the trigger that didn't get triggered finally is triggered, and I can go on with the rest of it. But the other bugs, there's some fun ones where I there was one guy in a room. I have a handgun. I shoot him like 5 times. His body explodes. I see like an explosion of meat, and I'm like, what the hell? So I walk around a corner. There's a dead body laying there, but then beside the dead body, there's another torso. It's just the torso. Everything else is missing, and I'm like, I only killed one guy. I don't know why there's like a decapitated torso here all of a sudden in that exploded, but then there's also another dead body, so it wasn't there a second ago. So there's all these weird bugs, which make for fun content, actually, if you're doing content creation. Nothing serious which is stopping me from playing the game. I've played the opening 3 hours on 3 times now. I did my Stadia playthrough, I did my GeForce Now playthrough, and then I did my own playthrough where that's going to be my main save game going forward. So I know the first 3 hours of the game like the back of my hand, and then I haven't touched it again since, unfortunately, because, well, I guess fortunately, because I was doing the Charity Land stuff. So I think today I'm going to finally dip my toes back into Night City and see if I can go meet a guy with a hand that is a certain color. I can't remember which color it is though. It's a gold hand? No,
Pink.
That's different. Pink hand. That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah, Johnny Pink hand.
Yeah, I think that I feel like some of the quest text is a little too vague. So like I opened up my journal, and this is extremely early on, and it's not spoilery. And it's like, go get your gun from this guy. And I was like, okay. So I go and I find the guy, and he's like, what's up? I got this new gun for you. It's a real good gun. I'm like, all right, great. The only button I have is the X button. So I like hit the X button. It brings up his store. I look at it, and I'm like, all right, well, I guess I buy a gun. So I bought the gun. Quest doesn't do anything. I'm like, all right, so I'm going to reload, try it again, buy a different gun. That didn't do anything either. So I was like, what is going on? I can't seem to figure this out. I go to Google, of course, because I feel like I'm doing something wrong. You'd think it would have given me more information, but it basically just says, go pick up your gun from dude. So I go to Google and I look it up, and sure enough, other people were struggling with it too. If you look in the store, there's a gun that you can get for 0 eddies. And I didn't notice that because it wasn't like called out to me. And it was just like, go get your gun. It didn't say go get the Death Rattler or whatever the hell it's called. I can't remember. Go get that gun from Wilson. No, it just said, go pick up your gun. And I was like, I was so confused because like there was another moment very, very early on where I have to talk to somebody and they hand a gun to me. And I figured that's what I'm supposed to do, but I'm only getting the store dialogue, so I'm incredibly confused. So like it's some stuff like that I feel could use more polish, but the story, and don't worry, no story spoilers. The story so far is very, very interesting. Even super early on, I've played as the Nomad, because I'm playing as the Nomad on GeForce Now, and I'm playing as the Corpo on Stadia. And both of those beginning stories, I'm assuming they will converge fairly quickly. Both of those very beginning stories are filled with extremely interesting and tense moments. And I'm like, oh, I really like where this is going. I will also say this game is extremely cutscene heavy. Like there's a lot of, you're standing there and you're having a conversation with somebody, and the voice acting is absolutely top notch. Like they have nailed it in this game. I'm really enjoying it. I'm a huge fan, and I can't wait to play more Cyberpunk. I can't wait to get back to Night City because it's a very cool world that they have put together.
Yeah, it really is. I've played, as I said, I've started the game 3 times. I've played as a street kid every single time because I didn't realize that the beginnings were different for every class that you choose. So it's like, if Smart Guy would have kept the one that he wanted to be for his own save and then done one and then done the other, I guess I'm not a smart guy. So I'm gonna have to replay those just because I want to see what that content is. This is a game that apparently you can beat in under 20 hours if you just mainline the main story. So I mean, after I beat the game, after spending 50, 60, 70 hours, however it takes for me to do all the content I want to do, I'm gonna probably go back and play through at least the beginnings of all the other characters as well, or all the other backgrounds as well, just to see more content in this game. It's one thing that I heard, and that whole buying gun for 0. Don't feel bad because I had to have chat room tell me how to do it because I didn't realize that the gun was there either. I was just like, he's not giving me a gun. What the hell? Someone's like, yeah, you just have to buy it at 0 eddies. I'm like, oh, all right, okay, that makes sense. But the thing that I really love about this game is that there is so much content, and it's not there isn't like stars or exclamation marks above everybody's head that has a quest. You actually have to get there. You have to do the role-playing game thing of actually talking to people. There could be someone that's standing on a corner and they're like, hey, how's it going? Can I bum a cigarette? And it's like, you could say no, and then no interaction with that person is possible ever again. That little side quest is now gone. You didn't experience it, but you could be talking about the game with a friend, and it's like, yeah, I went to the city, and they're like, oh, did you talk to that girl? She wanted to bum a cigarette. And I'm like, yeah, I did. And it's like, oh, that was a great quest. It's like, oh, she didn't give me a quest. I must have chose the wrong thing.
Yeah.
So everybody's playthrough from start to finish is going to be wildly different. Which I like. I like the fact that the stuff that you do in the game will affect potentially the rest of the game. It's going to have little waves and repercussions later on. I love role playing games like that where you make a decision and okay, that city is now blown up. There's no way to go to that city. Like if you're playing Fallout or whatever, and you blow up that big Bertha bomb, and next thing you know, there's no city there. You can't interact with anybody there. I love role playing games like that. And yeah, I'm pretty impressed with that type of stuff with Cyberpunk.
I think that there's going to be a lot of people who play Cyberpunk that are going to be, because it's all anybody's talking about. And yeah, there's going to be a lot of people who play this game that are going to be incredibly disappointed because it's an RPG. This is an RPG. It is a role-playing game. It is not a shooter. There are guns. There is gunplay, but it's not that kind of game. Like, again, I'm very early on. A majority of my time has been spent in conversation trees. And I'm not complaining about that even a little. But I think that there's a lot of people out there who were expecting something different. And that's probably because they don't know, like, the genesis of this game as, like, a tabletop art role-playing game back from, I think, the 80s, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's, I don't know, man. I've been excited about this game since the first teaser, and when you've been looking forward to the potential of a game coming out that you're going to like for 7 years, you can't help but be disappointed. Nothing that is released can ever rise up to your expectations of something you've been looking forward to for 7 years. For me, Cyberpunk has done that. I haven't beaten the game, of course. It could fall apart after the first 3 hours or first 5 hours or whatever it is because I played a little bit after. I'm impressed. I'm happy with what they came out. And I was worried that I would be so disappointed and that all anybody would be talking about online is how terrible the game turned out. That was my one big fear. But it's getting 8s, 9s, and 10s. Everybody seems super positive if they can actually play it on their platform without graphic glitches and things like that. Yeah, congrats to CD Projekt Red. But more so than that, congrats to Stadia for doing whatever they had to do to get the game to launch on the console. Did they have to fly, I don't know, a B-52 bomber full of engineers that parachuted down to their headquarters to get the game working? I don't know, but it does seem like the Stadia version is the best console version of the game, which no one would have predicted. 0 people out there would have predicted except for us Stadians. And it is turning a lot of heads. This is going to be a big moment in Stadia's history. And because of it, Stadia's social media team has turned up the snark with all the tweets that are going out, and they are fantastic. I love it.
Having trouble playing Cyberpunk 2077? Why not try it on Stadia? Get a free whatever. Like that is really good marketing, and the game runs really, really well. If you want to play the game, you have essentially 3 options. You can build a multi-$1,000 gaming rig.
Yep.
You can try to get an Xbox Series X or Series or a PS5 but that's going to cost you $500. You can subscribe to GeForce Now, which is good and has ray tracing, but you might have to wait in line. And I guess they were running into issues where if they ran out of rigs that were ready for RTX, they would then load you onto one that didn't have that. And so there were people who were playing and they could not get the same settings that like you were getting when you did your GeForce stream. Or you could get Stadia, which is the smoothest and easiest. Like, it is so easy. You just buy the game and you start playing it in your browser instantaneously. it seems
Yeah.
like a no-brainer, and it's so nice to see all of these stories out there, like articles and stuff out there talking about how awesome it is to play Cyberpunk 2077 on Stadia. I think that that's a really good thing.
It really is. I know we have to move on,
We do.
but the stories coming out from publications that have always been snarky or dismissive of Stadia, like now you get great leads like this is actually good on Stadia. It's surprising how well this runs on Stadia. The narrative is changing, and maybe Stadia won't be the butt of jokes anymore, and be for some reason the one streaming service that can't coexist with any others because of internet. Maybe people are going to finally start treating it as an actual platform now, like we have for the last year. Yeah, this is huge. Congratulations, Google, doing whatever you had to do to get Cyberpunk to come up at launch. This is the turning point for the platform to get people interested in it. Giving out a premiere edition is genius. And yeah, if you don't have like tens of thousands more daily players, tens of thousands, not just 10,000 more daily players because of this, I don't understand what's happening in the world. But it just seems that it's all sunshine and rainbows out there in Stadia land now, which hasn't been the case for the last year. So this is so good to see.
All right, let's move on. We also played other games this week. I'm going to talk really quick about Valkyria Chronicles 4.
Okay.
I played that game for about 2 hours. It's awesome. If you've never played a Valkyria Chronicles game, you are missing out. It is a turn-based JRPG with some real-time elements in there, and it's mixed in with like a strategy game. So think like Fire Emblem, but with some real-time elements as well. Incredibly fun. It has one of my favorite art styles. The art direction for the Valkyria games has always been really, really good.
Yeah.
They have like this watercolor aesthetic to them, and they've nailed it so well. And it looks, even the first one, which came out I don't even know how many years ago, still looks beautiful today. It's a gorgeous art style that transcends the power of the console that you're playing on. It just looks really good. Runs wonderfully on Stadia. I did record a first look, but the audio was messed up through it, so I threw that away. But Valkyria Chronicles 4 is on Stadia. You do not have to play the first three in order to enjoy the fourth one. If you have not checked it out and you like games like Fire Emblem or XCOM, that kind of thing, I think that you will also enjoy Valkyria Chronicles. I guess my one criticism, and I don't know that it's necessarily criticism that I have, it's a criticism that I think some people might have, is that it's very Japanese. And so, like, it's got that, I don't know, just the way that the characters behave and the voice acting is all very JRPG. And if that kind of thing turns you off, then you're not going to like this game. But I'm a fan of the Valkyria games, and Valkyria Chronicles 4 I've had a blast with. Have you ever played those?
I've played a couple of them. I'm not sure which ones I have played. It's not a franchise that I've played all of them, or like sought out the ones that I haven't played. But I do have fond memories of playing one of them at least. I can't even remember which console I played it on, like maybe Xbox 360 or something.
That's probably the first one then.
Yeah, I can't remember what it was, but yeah, I'm really looking forward to diving into this one once my playlist kind of settles down a little bit.
So speaking of playlists, you put a bunch of games in our Stadia playlist on our YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Let's start with Fogs. You and your daughter sat down and played Fogs. Tell me about this game, because I want to play it, but I just haven't had a chance.
Fogs is my new favorite couch co-op get angry at each other for missing things, but you're not really angry at each other. You're making jokes. Video game. I did a first look with my daughter. She loved it. I loved it. If anybody out there wants us to play the whole game and record the videos and have our commentary on it, I think she'd be happy to do that. But it's a really fun game. So there's multiple ways you can play it. You are the fogs are a double-headed dog. So you're basically a worm with dog's heads on each end of the worm. And you can play it in multiple different ways. You can play internet co-op with someone where your
cool.
friend over the internet controls one head and you control one head. You can play couch co-op with 2 controllers where each controller controls one of the ends of the dog. Or you can play how we did, which is couch co-op, where you use one controller. So one person holds the controller, and you use the analog stick, the bumper, and the trigger on the left side, and then the other person does the same on the right side. And it was just a ridiculous amount of fun to play with my daughter Allie. And yeah, if anybody wants us to play some more and put up some more Fogs content, I'm sure she would be happy to do it. But it's kind of like an old school cell phone it's not a cell phone game, but it has kind of those things where you're in a level, it's a set level, and you have to get four whatchamacallits and one hidden thingamabob, and then you have to get to the end and complete the level. It is just ridiculous physics, fun, and I had a lot of fun with Fogs, way more than I thought I would. The game is hilarious, and I'm a big fan.
That's awesome. So, like, let me ask you. You mentioned like the cell phone style of game. Does it have like, all right, you finished this level, but you only got 2 stars, so now go back and see if you can get more stars, or what?
Yeah. So in each level, there's an X number of bones that are hidden, and then there's one like friend. I can't remember what they call the little friend guy. Maybe more stuff gets added later, but in the first opening world, there's X number of bones in a level, and then a little hidden friend guy in a level. And the levels are multiple tiered little adventure things. So you can play a level and get all the bones, and then if you do that throughout the whole chapter, you unlock an achievement, and I think you unlock like some hidden customization things, because there's like hats, I believe, that you can get down the road, I believe, something like that. So you can unlock those things. But I don't believe any of these like bones are locking the next level. So it's not like you have to earn 40 stars to finally get to this level. It's more just if you want to unlock the customizations and things like that. So it's super like casual gamer friendly. There's no frustration of, I just want to get to the next level, I can't beat this one, oh my god, okay, I'm not playing this ever again. I think all that is done, which is good. People in the chat room are saying, but that only works if one person is left-handed or stuff, because it's awkward. Yes, that's the point. That's what makes it fun, is you are wrestling. One arm is across your body, the other person, the arm is across their body, and you're like fighting with the controller, fighting with the controls. That makes it more enjoyable. If you don't like that, you can basically use 2 controllers. But I think if I play it more, I want to have that weird like fighting the controls and fighting each other to get through the level, because that increases the fun.
I will say that I don't know if you guys are aware, but when you use a controller, you're always using your left hand. Like you, that doesn't. I don't see that that's necessarily a problem. My problem is more that you're reaching across to try, and it just seems very uncomfortable to do that way. And also, couldn't you play every game like that, Lloyd? I think that you and your daughter should play
every single video game.
Every game where you share the controller. No, jump! Will you just jump? God, I think there's a couple of guys at IGN that were playing Mario Odyssey like that, and they were doing like a YouTube series. I can't remember.
Yeah. I remember that. They started it back on the Wii, I believe, where one person held the Wiimote, one person held the nunchuck for a game, and I think they've continued that series all the way out. But yeah, it's fighting the controls is what makes games like this fun, like Octodad. But Octodad, you're actually one person and you're fighting the controls. This one, you're 2 people and you're fighting the controls. It's a fun family-friendly party game. This is going to be, if you're looking for one game to pick up to play over the holiday break. If you have a holiday break, Fogs would be fun for the whole entire family, because you're basically in a level and you're trying to make your way from the start of the level to the little snaky mouth thing that you jump into that takes you to the next section of the level, and you do that all the way until you get to the end, and then you're transported to the hub world. So it's friendly, it's easy, it's accessible, and I think this is going to be a really fun party/family game for the holidays.
There you go. Moving on, SpongeBob.
Yeah, quickly, I'll do SpongeBob and Destroy All Humans. So
Okay.
SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom is an old game from like the GameCube. I played it on the GameCube. It's been completely remastered for current generation consoles. It is ridiculously fun because I love old school, like PlayStation 1, GameCube era 3D mascot platformers where you're fighting the controls a little bit because they didn't spend a lot of time on the physics and other things. They fixed a lot of that with this version, but you're essentially either SpongeBob or Patrick or Sandy, and each of them have different powers, and you're basically going through the levels picking up shiny things, which are the little like shell looking things that you use as currency to unlock other levels. You're looking for hidden socks, and you're looking for golden spatulas because you are playing a SpongeBob game. It is a really fun old school platformer. It runs really, really well, and it looks really great on Stadia. If you've been waiting to pick up that remaster, Stadia is a very good version of it. Excuse me. And then Destroy All Humans. This is another remaster of an old game, or I think this one's a remake. It's not a remaster of an old game. When I first played it, it looked blurry as heck. I was like, this is a terrible port. Oh my God. But then I started it up a second time and it looked fantastic. So it might have been just some weird internet bug that I was having. You are essentially an alien that is coming to Earth to destroy all humans because you need DNA. And apparently your alien DNA was injected into humans thousands of years ago. So now you have to claim back this pristine DNA. So you're a guy that sounds like he's an actor with a really bad voice. It sounds like a little of I can't even remember the actor that he's trying to emulate, but you can upgrade your telekinesis, you can upgrade your weapons, you can upgrade your ship, and you're basically just trying to destroy the humans and claim their brains so that you can have your race continue to have decent DNA and not this the generations of corruption or whatever was happening in the world.
So
a lot of fun.
We played a whole bunch of games this week. That's a lot of games to come out in a week for Stadia. I'm very, and especially with Cyberpunk being the big one.
Jack Nicholson. That's right. He sounds like Jack Nicholson.
That really? Exactly now right. I want to play it even more. I love Jack Nicholson. Jack Nicholson's great.
He is. All
right. So so let's talk about the news. There's some pretty good news this week as well, especially if you're a content creator or if you are an aspiring content creator and you have Google Stadia. Live streaming is now here. Everybody can be a streamer. Anybody who's listening to this can make a Stadia account. They can play Bomberman 64, or they can play Destiny 2 at zero cost to them, and they can hit that live button and it will go up on their YouTube channel, and people can then watch. Or you know what I also think that you could do is you can basically use this as a capture card. So like you just turn it on and it's recording, and then you can clip stuff out and turn it into a video if you want. It's really, really cool, and it works incredibly well. I tried it a couple times I tried it once just doing I loaded up Destiny 2 and I was recording a video about it. So I did a live stream of me recording the video, and then I turned those into two different videos, which was weird, but that's what I ended up doing. And everybody said it looked really good. It was incredibly smooth. Mike Krahulik from Penny Arcade, he did a stream. I saw him tweet it out, and I was like, oh, I'm going to stop in. And he was streaming Outcasters and Bomberman, not 64. Did I call it Bomberman 64 before? Anyway, Super Bomberman are online. He was playing that,
Mhm.
and he was streaming it from his house. And he, like, when I interviewed him for the show, he was very specific. My internet at my house is not good. I do not
Yeah.
have a good upload speed. Streaming at my house is always kind of a pain. But he was playing, his son was playing, and they're both in the same house using that same internet. And Mike was also streaming out at the same time. It just goes to show you that this is that leveler. You don't have to have super expensive equipment in order to be a streamer anymore, thanks to Stadia.
Totally. Yeah, it's kind of the democratization of streaming tech, because everyone's like, oh yeah, consoles have had this forever, and it's like, yeah, they have, for sure. You could, on PlayStation 4 you could stream to Twitch, on Xbox you could stream to Twitch or Mixer when it was around, or YouTube, on all those consoles, but you had to have decent upload speed to do that. So you're playing the game locally, but you still have to get that to YouTube. There are people that have really bad internet, but they have decent downloads. So Stadia works really well for them, but they can't stream. It's just impossible to stream. Well, now they can. They just turn it on and they're streaming to YouTube without a PC, without decent upload, without anything. It's pretty remarkable. And the whole using it as a DVR, that is exactly right. I would be surprised if a lot of people don't start using that for captures, because you don't need a capture card, you don't need anything. You record as a private stream to YouTube, and YouTube allows you, if you are the content creator, to download that video, so you can then later download that 1 hour video to then put into whatever video editor you're using. It is really, really well done.
I'm gonna make a video to show people how to do this, but you don't even have to do what you just said, Lloyd. You don't have to download it. You can edit it right on YouTube's site, and it's it's not the best editor or anything, but you can trim out big sections of it, like where nothing really happened.
Yep.
I think that this is a really good solution for people who want to dip their toe into content creation without spending buckets and buckets of cash. Other big Stadia news, and this is probably the biggest Stadia news as far as growing the player base. Stadia is now in 8 more European countries. So that would be Austria. I don't know how to say it. Czechia. Czechia. I wasn't sure if that was a CH sound or a CK sound. Czechia, Hungary, Poland, Portugal, Romania, Slovakia, or Switzerland. If you're in any of those places, you now have access to Stadia. I think that, everything that we're seeing happening now, and it seems like a lightning pace what's happening now, after we've had this incredibly slow crawl for the past year and a half or so, or not year and a half, a little more than a year. I think all of that is because COVID slowed everything down, and now we're starting to see all of the things that they had planned on doing are now coming to fruition, and I think that that's really, really great. And I'm looking forward to more.
Yeah, it's so weird. So I bought Watchdog Legions, the deluxe, or the deluxe edition of Watchdog Legions. So Stadia emailed me saying, hey, with your deluxe edition you get a free copy of Watch Dogs 1. Sure. Which is great. Watching a bunch of stuff, they added more pro games in December, and I was like, great, I have all these games. I have all these games in my library from the last month that I haven't played. Like, there's a dozen games that I haven't played, and it's not because I don't have the time to play games. I just don't have time to play those games because there's so many games coming out. It is kind of ridiculous, the kind of logjam that had built up for a while, and now everything is just just flooding out. It's great. It's super good for Stadia. It is a very it's a very robust store now. There's a lot of there's a lot of genres on the platform that you can play. So if you're an RPG guy or girl, if you love adventure games, if you're more into sports, if you like puzzles, if you like multiplayer stuff, there seems to be games for everybody on Stadia now. Google promised that there's going to be 100 games on the store by the end of the year. Everyone laughed at them. Well, we have well over 100 games on the store now. It is a fantastic platform. There's more games on this platform in its first year than almost any other console has ever done. Stadia it's past its like awkward adolescence, and it's going into it's going into its late teenage years, and it's really blossoming into a really fantastic platform. So I can't wait to see what our game count is at the end of 2021, and if I really have a life anymore, or if I'm just playing Stadia games all day, every day, trying to get the content out, because there's just going to be so much stuff coming out from that store.
Well, speaking of stores, they have a sale. They always have some stuff on sale, but they've got 3 games that are on what they're calling a mega deal. Now, this was posted. I forgot about this. I actually took advantage of one of these. This was posted back on the 8th, so just a few days ago. I assume that they're still on sale right now. But PGA Tour 2K21, which is a fantastic golf game, $10. Really, really good deal. Borderlands 3 Ultimate Edition. All right, Ultimate Edition for $10. That game is usually $100.
And the Ultimate Edition, just to clarify things, we had the Super Deluxe version or whatever when the game launched. That was Borderlands 3 plus the Season Pass, which was the Season 1 Pass, because they've since added a second Season Pass, which is part of the Ultimate Edition. So if you've bought the original game and you have the original Season Pass with the 3 chunks of content that came out, but you didn't want to pay $40 to get Season Pass 2, well, just buy this for $10. You get Season Pass 2, and you've saved a bunch of money on that Season Pass. This is a ridiculous sale. $10 for this. It's hundreds of hours of content, even if you just play from start to finish and not even like replaying different character classes.
No, Charles Oran says the sale is ended.
Oh no.
No, see, I forgot about it. I took advantage of the PGA Tour sale because I already had a copy. But I bought a copy for my mom because she was like, I want to play golf. And I was like, all right, awesome. We'll get you the golf game. I had a $10 coupon, so it cost me like 87 cents to get PGA Tour for her. So, and I was like, oh, I definitely want to talk about this on the show. I just forgot. And then I saw it in this blog post. It's, if you missed out, I'm sorry.
Ended on Friday, apparently. I thought it was till next week, till Tuesday, but it ended early. That's disappointing.
All right. Well, another game that you missed out on was Zombie Army 4, but we won't dwell on that for $10. That's too bad. Let's move on to the Game Awards. Not who won or who lost, but the games that were announced for Google Stadia. So, real quick. Let's see. Yeah, we're already at 52 minutes. Which ones do you think are the most important ones that you want to talk about, Lloyd?
For the games that were announced?
Yeah.
The one that surprised me, that I didn't realize that I'd want to play it when I saw the first 3 seconds of the trailer, was the Tchia or whatever, Tchia.
Oh yeah.
It's TCHIA. It's this cool little 3D RPG looking game where you appear to be this little person that lives on an island, this little child, looks like a little girl that lives on an island. And I'm like, oh, okay, so you're like rafting, you're collecting things, you're climbing, you're exploring, you're jumping. And then all of a sudden, like she does the thing where she does like the Link from Breath of the Wild, where she jumps out with a parachute and kind of glides down. And I'm like, oh, that looks interesting. And then next thing you know, she's turning into a coconut. Like she can possess a coconut to roll around, possess a bird to fly around. And I'm like
Mario Odyssey.
Yeah. It's like, to me, it looks like a blend of Breath of the Wild and Mario Odyssey. So that went from, oh yeah, that's cool, to, okay, I got to play this game. This game looks fantastic. So this surprised me the most. There's some other great announcements. Disco Elysium's coming, which won all the Game Awards, last year's Game Awards. I still haven't played it. I'll probably play it on Stadia, and a bunch of other games as well, including Vin Diesel as a really awkward looking caveman in Ark II. Very good outing for Stadia at the Game Awards.
Yeah, so this Disco Elysium game, I first off, it's called Disco something, so I just completely ignored it. I never paid attention to it. I didn't know anything about it. I heard that it had won all kinds of stuff last year.
Mm.
But this looks incredibly cool. I guess it's like an old school CRPG,
Yep.
which like those kind of games are kind of dead. They don't happen very often. I mean, we have Baldur's Gate 3, which doesn't
Yep.
feel like an old school CRPG. It feels like a new school CRPG. This one
Right.
feels more like an old school style game. I'm very interested in this game, and
Yeah.
I love the world that
Yeah.
they're in. It's so weird and different. Very, very interesting to me
It,
that
the
game is.
the main protagonist looks like every character from like a 70s 80s police drama. Like he has this dark glasses, he has like this big handlebar mustache looking thing, which I'm growing apparently. The game looks really good. I've wanted to play it since it won every award at the Game Awards, because I hadn't known anything about the game. Haven't gotten to it. It'll be coming to Stadia, so I don't have to even think about that anymore. It'll be 30 seconds from buying it to playing it, and I can jump into the world of Disco Elysium at some point in the future.
Now, I know that there are a lot of people that were really excited about Ark II.
Mhm.
Let me make sure that I understand, because I have never played an Ark, or I never played the first one. This is like an open world game, right?
Yeah, it's a survival game. Like
But
I don't know if you're
multiplayer,
familiar with.
right?
Correct. Yeah. So it's
Okay.
like Rust. It's like Rust. It's
Hmm.
like there's a couple others of games like that where you basically go to an island and you're on the island with X number of other people, and you have to harvest stuff and build stuff and stay safe from both the dinosaurs and the other people. Yeah. So Arc 2 is a weird thing. It has console exclusivity for Xbox, I believe. So I don't know if that means since it's also coming to
Oh, I
PC,
didn't
if that
know
will come to
that.
Stadia. So it might be coming to Stadia, because Stadia is kind of a PC, but Stadia can also be seen as its own console. But it's really weird the way that they announced it with Vin Diesel, because Arc doesn't really have, like, from what I've played of Arc, it didn't really have like kind of like a big main story where you'd think there'd be money spent to pay an actor to do the voice and motion capture for this game. But apparently that is what Arc 2 is going to be about. It's the Vin Diesel. I'm trying to remember the name of the movie that he did where he could see in the dark.
Chronicles of Riddick.
Yeah, so I thought this was like a Riddick, a new Riddick set, like where he time traveled or something, and then they said it was Ark, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's weird, but yeah, it looks interesting. I want to know more about it. I don't know if I'll ever play it. I do like Vin Diesel, but yeah, this one's kind of odd to me.
It's really odd to me
Oh,
because
Pitch Black, that's right. Yeah,
oh
Pitch Black and the Chronicles of Riddick. They were the
oh
two
Riddick was
movies
like
based.
the sequel or
Prequel.
something.
Yeah, sequel
Yeah.
or prequel. Yeah.
So the thing about Arc 2 is like I'm guessing he's like the Johnny Silverhand of this world or something. Like he'll
Sure.
send you on quests, because obviously you can't play as him, because it's like if it's a multiplayer focused game like the other ones, you can't have, oh look, there's Vin Diesel. There's Vin Diesel. We got a whole group of Vin Diesels here. I
Yeah.
don't think that really works, but I do know that there were a lot of people excited for it. I'm disappointed that it was a I didn't realize it was I just assumed that Arc 1 just came to Stadia, so Arc 2 was probably on the way as well. I
Yeah.
just assumed that. I didn't realize that was an Xbox exclusive. That's too bad.
Yeah. I'm sure it'll come at some point, but yeah, at launch, it appears to be a launch exclusive on console on Xbox.
All right, and then there was the Lucy trailer for Humankind. I thought that this trailer was very, very cool. Didn't really show you what it was like to play the game, obviously, but I thought it was a cool trailer because they were showing how you can take the two civilizations and mash them together to have different experiences each time. I thought it was a cool trailer, and that's a Stadia. Is it a timed exclusive? I think it's a timed exclusive.
I believe so.
Yeah.
I believe so. I don't think this is like a Stadia Games and Entertainment game where it's like a second party game development. I think it's just an exclusivity window thing.
Yeah. And then Elder Scrolls Online has a new trailer, and it's just a trailer. It's not showing gameplay or anything, but I honestly,
Gates of Oblivion.
yeah, that's all you need to know is that it's
Yeah.
Gates of Oblivion, because we already know how Elder Scrolls Online plays on Stadia. We already know what that game is like. Now we get to see where is it that we're going to be going when the next expansion comes out next year. And it looks like we're going to be going to Oblivion. And it was a very cool trailer. Elder Scrolls 6. Where are you? Where are you?
Yeah. I did a slash played in ESO the other day, and my main's 18 days. I've played 18 days with my main in ESO.
And that was since June.
Yeah, that's since it came to Stadia. I didn't play ESO before Stadia, other than a small little stint on PlayStation. Yeah, I love Stadia, I love ESO, and I love all the old Elder Scrolls games, including Oblivion, which I played so much of. So the fact that we might be getting some kind of Oblivion-y kind of content in ESO more than is already there has me very, very excited.
Speaking of things we love, we just love it when they're showing us the love with all of these super chats that have come in. Let's move on to crowd play and thank everybody who did that. And they give us things to talk about. Ray Sherrod sent in a super chat. He said, congrats. I love you guys. Well, thank you very much, Ray. You are awesome. Dave Winall sent in a super chat. They said, can Google quickly ramp up server capacity? So there was a screenshot that somebody shared in our community Discord, link in the description down below, and it was that they were in a queue. Now, it was only for like 30 seconds or something, I think, but they were in a queue for just a quick second, and then I've never experienced this. Everybody I talked to has never experienced this. I feel like Google has a good handle on server capacity, but with as well as Cyberpunk is doing, with the free games like Destiny 2 and Bomberman on Stadia, do you worry at all about Google and server capacity?
Not yet. The games that are free to play, I guess Destiny's a bit of a beefier game, but they seem to be not super processor and GPU intensive. Obviously Destiny is, but Espero on the other hand isn't. So what I hope happens is when they start rolling out new hardware 2.0, whatever you want to call it, they're just going to keep all the old blades for games that don't need the fancy new GPUs that can do ray tracing.
Spitlings.
And they'll Spitlings, like Lost Words, Guilt, even all those games that aren't like crazy. All the Ubisoft games that are old that are going to be coming through Ubisoft Plus, those games will run fine on the current blades. But then they can essentially double the amount of people that can play just by adding 2.0 in the same data center with the old blades. So I'm fairly certain that Google can quickly ramp up just by installing new hardware. I don't know if they have a lot of hardware sitting around to make it quick, but the fact that they could probably just connect a new blade to the network and have it up and running in a matter of moments, I'm sure, is going to be good for the future of Stadia, because they can put machines where they need them to be, and they're very good at forecasting and predicting this through all their AI and algorithms to get the hardware where it needs to be.
And I also want to make sure that I would assume that they wouldn't be expanding into 8 new countries in Europe if they were near capacity.
Right.
So I think that the fact that they're expanding into new countries, that shows that they've got some headroom. And I'm guessing that screenshot that somebody had shared in our Discord, I'm guessing that was probably a bug and not an actual capacity thing. But you know what? I don't actually know. I could be wrong about that.
The way that Stadia works is they try to connect you to a blade that is very close to where you live. So it could just be that this person was, say, in like a big city and everybody started playing at the same time. So Stadia was trying to load a game on a blade. There was no blades in, say, Chicago because this person was in Chicago. And then when someone quit, then all of a sudden other people can play. But what I think Stadia can do is, depending on your location, they can say, okay, well, you're in Winnipeg and we have blades in like North Dakota. Well, they're all full, so we can go to like Minnesota, and you can play there because it's close enough. And they're really good at forecasting that and checking like latency. So even if you play on a blade that isn't like directly by your house, I'm sure it'll be fine. Those like pause screens or cue screens, they've been shown for a while. Like that text has been in the in the executables, the binaries, the apps, the website forever, but we haven't really seen it. So this is very interesting. This means it's good for Stadia. The fact that people are waiting is a good thing because it means that there is a lot of usage, and then Google can now forecast growth and then get rid of those problems in those areas where it's happening.
Yeah. Wollock sent in a super chat. They said Cyberpunk has been a great advertisement for Stadia. I mean, we spent 30 minutes about talking about that, so you are 100% correct, Wollock. Jay Dangle sent in a super chat with no comment. Thank you for the support. Cedric sent one in. They said, is Cyberpunk 2077 the ambitious type of game that would work better if developed entirely in the cloud? I know we aren't there yet, but it's approaching. Well, I mean, yes, because like Google's talked about their AI. I think there was an interview with Jade Raymond where she was saying, look, we have this thing, I forget what it's called. We'll call it the AI server or something. And you know what? Somebody develops AI, we can then put it in there. And then you as a developer can say, I need an AI that does this kind of thing. And it can then go grab that AI and bring it in to really speed up the development of the games. I think that kind of thing would do a lot of good in a huge open world RPG like Cyberpunk. Of course, we're not there yet. Like you said, Cedric, that's going to be a few years before we start to see the benefits of that. But when those benefits come, when we see those cloud native games, it's going to be a big deal. And it's going to be like right now, Cyberpunk has been a lights on situation for a lot of people where they're like, oh, all right, well, that's awesome. I think that those cloud native games that use the data center in ways that a traditional console can't, that's going to be that lights on situation for a lot of people.
Definitely. Yeah. I don't think like cloud development is going to make it easier for developers to create a game. It helped. Stadia definitely helped because of COVID, because people can't get together in large groups in game development studios. But a lot of development is chatting with your team members, and it's way easier to do if you're all sitting in the same floor, and you can just walk over to Bob's desk and say, hey Bob, I'm having a problem with this physics, can you check it out? It's like, you gotta turn on the what's it's like, oh yeah, thanks Bob, you did the
you had gravity turned off.
You saved my life, Bob. You can't really do that on the cloud as easily because not everybody wants to sit on Zoom for the entire day just so they can have conversations with Bob. Bob's terrible on Zoom is kind of what I'm trying to get at. But yeah, like Stadia has definitely helped with development through COVID, just because you can spin up a version of your game and have other people play it within an hour as a developer, where emailing those files or loading them to FTP sites and all that other garbage would be a tough thing to do.
Yeah, and you're right about that Stadia kind of saved the bacon of some places, like Destiny 2. Destiny 2, when COVID hit, they were able to just say, all right, we're going to move all of our development stuff to working on Stadia stuff because it's cloud native. It's so easy. And then we can use the work that we do on Stadia, and we can push that to the other platforms as well. So it's really good. And that's another reason why I think the number of games that we'll get on Stadia are going to increase a lot, because You don't have to have, you can have a dev kit for Stadia, but you don't have to have a dev kit for Stadia. You can just do all of that stuff in the cloud. There's going to be some companies that want to do dev kit stuff because they want to be secretive. They don't want people to be able to see what's happening.
Yep.
And of course, you get Gem out there hacking into everybody's dev kits on the cloud, finding out what's going on. We had the Nerf Report became a member. Thank you very much, Bryant. Sukotronic became a member, and Consigno sent in a super chat. They said, "Congrats on the Cloud Game Award wins, well deserved." Thank you very much for that. And we had Hungry Moogle became a member, which makes me want to play Final Fantasy 14 on Google Stadia. Damn
Kupo.
Kupo, that's right. So thank you to all of those members and super chats. Anthony Talcott sent in a chat. He said, "Congrats on the cloud gaming win. How are you guys liking the streaming feature in Stadia? Any complaints or changes that you would like to see?" Do you have any complaints?
No complaints. I think there was a secretive announcement that kind of happened connected to something that wasn't directly related, that Google is partnering with, or YouTube is partnering with, which is Google, with OBS.
I forgot about that.
To work on new features for OBS. What my hope is they're throwing a bunch of money into the project to make OBS better, because you need investors with open source projects sometimes to make things get better. But the thing that I am super excited about is Google working with them. This isn't something I'm not spoiling anything. I don't have any knowledge that I'm throwing out here. But
they don't tell us anything.
They don't tell us anything. But what I would love to see is Google working directly with OBS to create a Stadia version of OBS that allows you to set up your look, so you can have your overlays, you can have your webcam, you can have your frames around it, you can have chat here, you can have your notifications here, and then you send that overlay from your computer to Google, which then gets overlaid on top of your gameplay, which then allows you to do the live streaming directly from Stadia, but with the addition of, say, like a webcam and little pop-up notifications. That there's other services that do that. There was a service for Mixer that I can't remember the name of.
Something
like that. Yeah, that sounds right. And it worked really well. There was a lot of people that weren't able to stream from their PC, but were able to use that to get a better looking base stream from their console. If Google could work directly with OBS to have a cloud version of OBS just for YouTube streaming or Stadia streaming, I think this is going to be a preferred streaming platform for a bunch of people, because it's going to be so lightweight on the computer that it's running on.
Absolutely. And like for those of you that are wondering, well, why wouldn't you just then stream from your computer if you're doing all that? The amount of stuff that you're sending when you're sending a full scene with a bunch of motion happening, it's a lot more data intensive. You can get away with a crappy 720p or maybe even like 540p webcam, because it's like a little tiny webcam down in the corner. You can get away with like a 540p webcam, send that, it's going to look fine. And you won't need that big of an upload speed. But you'd need a huge upload speed in order to be able to send 1080 60 and have it look nice at the same time. And it's a lot more processor intensive on your computer to do that way as well. Go ahead.
Can you imagine if Google is able to work with OBS to get a version of OBS that runs on a Chromebook that you can load on a Chromebook? So you could buy a $150 PC and use that as your streaming rig, because you're using Google's Stadia streaming to get the actual video game play out to people. But you could use the Chromebook as your overlay machine. Like, this would just democratize streaming for everybody. I've already said that today, but this would really do that. It would allow anybody essentially to become a streamer with overlays and fancy effects and things like that.
All right, our last comment that came in, thank you very much to everybody who has already. Our last comment that came from Travis McGuire. He sent in a super chat. He said, "Lloyd's First Look Fund, you've sold me on more games than I care to admit. Both of you, thank you. Off to pick up Darksiders Genesis, which is on sale now. I did not know that game was on sale right now. That game is awesome. It is really good. And you know how I know that you know how you can tell that it's awesome? Because I finished it. I never finish games. It has to be really, really exceptional for me to finish a game. That game was really fun. I had so much fun with it. So Darksiders Genesis, I don't know how much it is right now, but if you don't own it, you should pick it up on Stadia because it's rad.
It's $24 on sale right now.
It's a steal. Go get it.
That is. Thanks for that super chat. I've also seen a bunch of people in chat saying, okay, you sold this on Fogs, I'm picking it up to play with my daughter, or picking it up to play with my girlfriend or my husband. There's a lot of people that like listening to us talk about games, and we're able to steer them in the right direction. So thanks for putting your trust in us, people.
Absolutely. That's it for StadiaCast today. Thank you very much for being here on our live stream. Everybody who comes to nerdnest.tv to hang out with us. If you want to follow the show on Twitter, it's at StadiaCast. I'm at RunJumpStomp, and he is at Dasme. Thanks for listening, everybody. I'll see you next time.
Later, everybody. Have a great rest of your week.
Come in. Everything okay? What? Oh, okay. My son just got top 46 in a Fortnite tournament. Hey, nice job, dude. How many people were in it? How many people were in the tournament? Thousands?
Congrats, DK. That was the Freezy thing or whatever it's called, that event that's going on right now.
Frosty Frenzy. Top
Frosty
46.
Frenzy.
Nice job, dude.
Congrats, man.
He's so excited. He's like, ah!
Yeah, my daughter's been playing a lot of Fortnite with some random people she met online through playing Fortnite, and they're all friends. They're like, yeah, me and my friends, we're playing, we're doing this. And I'm like, friends, okay, yeah, they're people you played with online. It's kind of weird, but yeah, Fortnite is huge again.
Hold on,
Fortnite's
that is
huge
incredibly hypocritical, dude.
Because we're friends. We're
yeah.
friends. but we met more than 5 minutes ago. We met more than 5 minutes ago in some random match on Fortnite.
All right, that's fair. I thought, well, okay, that's fair. I thought maybe you meant like the people that she plays Fortnite with.
No. It's just it's funny. It's like, yeah, we get a new friend and blah blah blah. And I'm like, you don't know this person. I'm just very very protective of my kids calling people friends that they meet online because of all the stuff that happens online.
No, yes, I understand what you're saying. Jem sent in a super chat probably while my son was telling me about his Fortnite win. He said Fogs is the best co-op game on Stadia. I haven't played it. I haven't had a chance to play it yet. I'm really looking forward to it.
It is so good.
Is it better than Spitlings? Because I love Spitlings.
Spitlings was fun, but Spitlings gets to a point later in the later levels where it'll ruin your marriage, or your friendship, or other relationships, because it gets really hard. I think Fogs is too cute for that ever to happen.
That's fair.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you everybody for hanging out with Lloyd and I. Lloyd is a very, very tired man. $51,000 raised for charity. So if you haven't already, if you want to help out a really good cause, what's that URL again, Lloyd?
It is I thought I had it pasted. It's charityland.give. Gives charityland.gives. Pasted in the chat room for people to check it out. It was a fun 14 hours on the air, 24 hours in this chair. It was a fun thing, and we raised a lot of money for sick kids.
So now you're going to immediately stream some Cyberpunk, right?
I'm going to go to bed, man. Yeah. I'm so tired. I'm probably not going to sleep, but I'm going to go lay down, get all bundled up, and watch probably Three's Company or something. Some old comedies to lighten the mood a little bit.
All right, I'm going to ask one more question before I let you go. Have you ever watched WKRP?
Oh, one of the best. The Thanksgiving episode is one of the best episodes of TV ever.
Oh, the humanity. All right. Yeah. So if you have never watched WKRP, everybody, that's your homework. All right. Go watch WKRP, the Thanksgiving episode.
Oh,
Les
so
Nessman and the turkey drop. If you haven't seen it, you need to see it.
Yep.
All right. Good night, Lloyd.
Later, everybody. Have a good one.
Bye.
Later, Bill.